Welcome. We are back. It is officially football season, college football season officially. This is the last Saturday of, with no football, true football, until week 0 is officially. I am joined with Ty. Hopefully Ty will be joining us the whole season of this. But yeah, we're back. Donia Sports is officially back. If you keep up with the TikTok page of our posts lately and all that, we've been consistent with the NFL and all that. But let's hop in straight into it though. Preseason picks or season picks of us. Top 25 of AP preseason dropped, I think, a week ago or a couple days ago during this week. And, not going to lie, I'm kind of shocked with a lot of these teams, but kind of not surprised. You know what I mean, Ty?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are pretty overrated and underrated, so it's just a mix of both.
Definitely, and this is where we're going to go over those overrated, underrated teams and, talk about each conference of what team is going to make that next step or what team's going to fall back and compare to other, previous year or last year's teams. So let's start with, the top 25, of course. I think we can all agree that the top 5 is correct. You know what I mean? I think the top 5, you could say 7, number 7 could have been different, but I do think the top 5 is all correct. Do I think Ohio State is the best team in the country? Do you think? Do we agree on that? Do we think they're the best team on paper? On the eye test, are they the best team on paper? They brought everyone back on offense. Everyone's back on offense except Carl Taylor.
I honestly don't think. Eye test, this is controversial, but I'm going to say Texas probably.
Texas, okay. I will go with you in Texas.
Okay.
I will, because Texas, I'm going to say it right now. Texas is my natty team. Texas is my natty team this year. I think Texas has everything to put it all. Everything is right there. You got arguably the best receiver in the country in Cam Coleman, finally leaving Auburn.
I think let's pause right here. I think Jeremiah Smith's undoubtedly the best wide receiver.
Yes, he is the best.
There's nobody going to be stepping over him, but I think Cam Coleman is I would say Cam Coleman is closer to Jeremiah Smith than I would say who the
Nick Marshall.
Probably then, yeah. I mean, it's Jeremiah Smith's on another level.
Yeah, he is.
Still,
you watch that Cam Coleman versus the Vanderbilt game, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, Cam Coleman. But I wanted him to come to Alabama so bad, but we'll get past that.
We'll save that for another discussion. But I do think Texas is the number 1. But I do think I can agree with what the AP did. They didn't want to put Texas back at number 1 and how last year went, and they got beat by Ohio State in that fashion. A lot of people were like, all that. They don't want to repeat that mistake. And Ohio State, going into week 1, we'll save it for another thing, but going into Texas, ooh, that's going to be something. You know what I mean? Oh, it's going to be a little thing. Oh, going into week 1 in Longhorn State. I do think Oregon is number 2 or number 3 in my opinion. I do think that. Georgia, I do think you have that Georgia in the top 4 no matter what. Notre Dame, though. I think they keep the reason why Notre Dame is number 4 is the eye test. They have the roster. They have everyone back except Jeremiah Love. That is it. And Pierce, the 2 running backs. That is it.
Darren Price, yeah.
Everyone is back. All right? So it is very intriguing how this team is going to be. And their season, they don't have, you look at their schedule compared to past years. They do play Miami later in the year. I know that. Let me look at their schedule.
I think
they play Miami later.
I know that. Yeah, I think their schedule is big again. I mean, it's Notre Dame. So, once they join a more prestige conference, then I think because another sport.
You look at Irish. They don't even. You know what's crazy? They don't even play USC this year for the first time in forever. Until 2030, they'll get back in that rivalry. They play BYU, Miami, Wisconsin, and SMU. That's literally these games I gotta say for them. So,
yikes. I mean, obviously, I think they were actually kind of snubbed from the playoffs.
I do too. I think they should have made it over y'all. I'm gonna say they should have made it over y'all. Just saying.
I mean, it's debatable now because we won the game. But for James Madison have them in over Notre Dame.
Well, you forget.
But that's again like a deeper discussion to where it's
that's
like,
whole, yeah.
It's just
You
a
could
big
say
problem. They gotta get it situated better.
Yeah, we'll see if they get 24 teams next year. I hope it's just 16, in my opinion. I don't want 24. That's so much.
I like 16, but
yes, I think 16 is the best thing. I know, like, we all want a bye, but at that point, I think every team should just be ready. There's no more excuses, like having a bye and all that. I think
the bye is worse because what are the teams like 1-5 or like 1-7?
Only Indiana. Only Indiana.
Yeah.
Only Indiana. That's it. That's the only team that won. So, I think you have a bye, you're in disadvantage. Still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, we move on from that though. Continue this AP rankings of this.
What are we at? 6 in Indiana?
6 in Indiana and all that, and 6-7. You know how to still. No, let's talk about Georgia. Do you think? Okay, Georgia's always going to be tough for. We already talked about that. Georgia. They have. This is honestly. You know what's crazy? They have the youngest roster, but they seem like they're the oldest team. You know that, right? They have the youngest roster of all college football starters, and then they have an old ass quarterback, and damn it, Gunner Stockton. So it's very entertaining. I'll say that. Back to the defending champs of Indiana. Kurt Cincinnati saying it's just another week, another year. Everyone's starting at 0-0, building a house. I think Indiana's going to be good. I still think they make the playoffs, but they will not have the same type of year like 16-0 in my opinion. There's no way. There's no way you go 16-0 again. They're good. I think they have a better receiver because Nick Marsh is really good. I think that's an unbelievable move they have, but I think Josh Hoover is going to make that step like Fernando? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think Indiana might fall off a little bit, but it's kind of hard to count out Kirk Cincinnati.
Hey, he's made the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen a decrease yet. So, yeah. Miami, though. Miami. I think Miami's really depending on what the quarterback Darren is his name, or is that his name?
Mensa.
Mensa.
Like that, yeah.
I'm high on him too. I am very high on Darian.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be really good. Malachi Toney, second year Malachi, that's going to be definitely. Mark Fletcher, that is going to be really good. This offense is going to look good. The defense, they did lose a lot of defense, I'll say that, but the offense, I think they're going to be on point, and I do think they're my favorites to win the ACC, in my opinion. I do think they win the ACC, but the ACC is crazy no matter what. We had Duke winning it last year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I really like Miami this year. I think Mensa coming in from Duke was like one of my favorite transfer portals, especially for a quarterback. And we've seen recently with how Miami kind of handles, transfer quarterbacks coming in. We saw Cam Ward come in, flourish, and be the number one pick in the NFL draft. Carson Beck, obviously, he came from Georgia, and everyone was like, all right, this guy's going to be kind of mid. And everything ends up going, third round to the Cardinals. So you know that Miami can produce quarterbacks to the NFL level now. And, we just saw the run they went on recently with the national championship. So I think, honestly, I'm not going to say they're underrated because I think the teams that are above them are obviously better.
Yeah.
But I will say Miami definitely is one of those teams that I have that can win a national championship compared to like Indiana or say Notre Dame because the talent level they keep coming in with quarterback. And, with the wide receiver, they have Toney coming into a sophomore year. I expect him to take that step. I think Miami could be number one by the end of the year. That's just a hot take. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, Miami's going to win the national championship. I'm just saying I'm going to keep my eye on Miami because I really like the kind of situation they're in right now.
They are. I do like the situation too. I mean, you look at who they play in their schedule. The hardest game is going to be at Notre Dame on November 7th. So that's going to be a tough game. But other than that, I think they have a schedule that they can run the table. I mean, they got to play in Clemson and quote-unquote Death Valley. Other than that, they have all the games at home that it favored them pretty much. So
and once November rolls around, you'll have that connection established with how, like, teams and like where we put them as the rankings. So I think by November, Miami could be the obviously better team than Notre Dame right now. People will say, Notre Dame's going to win that game, but we'll see. That should be a good one, though.
You should. And this one is going to start some conversations or confrontation right there. A&M at 8. I don't like that. This team was at home that lost to a Miami team, okay? On paper, you could say they're really good. Marcel Reed should have that, his final year at quarterback at A&M, should make that move. I don't know if Mario Craver's still there. The defense should be better. I'm not sold on A&M anymore. I am not. We saw what Marcel Reed is. You could say he's a running back playing at quarterback, officially. And I hate saying that about quarterbacks, but he is not a good quarterback. He is not. You could say the schedule benefit them a little bit. That defense is terrible. I'm going to say that right now. That defense is terrible. That's that you could put thousands of points on them, if anything. I don't know if the defense is still going to be the same or not, but I still don't believe in A&M, okay?
Yeah, and they have a new offensive coordinator, so we're going to have to see how that kind of transition. I think Marcel Reed is still a talented runner, more say, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of Lamar Jackson comparison, but I don't think you can compare someone in college football.
You can never
Lamar
compare.
Jackson.
Lamar Jackson was electric. Every single play you watch Lamar, he was making a dude look stupid. There's a reason why he was the Heisman. He made Louisville a damn school again. All right? He made him a fucking school again. All right.
Yeah, and like the thing about this is like, it's such a different type of game. A lot of people said going into the draft, Lamar Jackson's going to transition to a running back, and obviously that just got completely thrown out the window in the past 8 years. But we're gonna have to see how Marcel Reed kind of does that. Because I've seen a lot of transition to running back for him. He's still a quick player, but I don't know, that arm, especially in that Miami game. When the pressure's on, he didn't perform. But we did see the one game where I will say Marcel Reed in the second half was clutch, was against South Carolina when they were down 30 or something.
0.
Yeah, so, I mean, you obviously can't be like, oh, Texas A&M's ass, they're overrated and everything, because this team's proven that they can do stuff. And Marcel Reed proven that he can come back down 30-0. Not a lot of people can say that, but
no.
I do think Texas A&M is slightly overrated. I'd put them around the 12 to 15 range, not 8.
And I don't like their schedule. I don't. They got to play at LSU. You got to play at Bama. You got to play at South Carolina. You got to play at OU. I don't like that. I do not like that schedule for them. I do not. It's going to be a very tough schedule. I think they're going 8-4 or 9-3 at best. I don't like that schedule for them at all. Going to a team, Ole Miss at 9. I think Ole Miss should be at 8, in my opinion, because you forget they're one play away making the natty. I know you could say it's all because of Lane Kiffin left and all that, but I still think Goldberg, if I can say it's right, is it Gold or is it the head coach over there for Ole Miss?
Not 100%.
Ole
Miss head coach is Pete Golding.
Golding, yeah. I think Ole Miss is going to be really solid this year. I think Ole Miss. This is what Spears said today, a couple days ago on First Take. That game, Ole Miss versus LSU, will dictate both seasons right there. That game dictates everything, in my opinion.
It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous to say,
because it's college game day. All right, week 3, college game day is going to be there. You have Chambliss, Lacey, Perkins, Thomas from Baylor, Jalen Braxton. Their team is good. They didn't lose anyone crazy on that team. Everyone kind of came back on that team. So, I think Ole Miss is going to make a run. I think Ole Miss could make the playoffs again. I think Ole Miss could really make the playoffs.
I think they're playing with a chip kind of on their shoulder again. Losing a head coach like Lane Kiffin's status really does suck, but we saw in the college football playoff that really doesn't matter. And, they were playing for something different there. I get pissed that their head coach just said, I'm leaving and everyone. And I don't think Georgia understood, what the hell was going on in that game because, they couldn't game plan for anything.
There was so much noise. There was so much noise in the outside of the game, anything. There's so much noise
so I think Ole Miss should be better than Texas A&M, ranked higher right now. And I'm really excited to see how Lacey plays this year because he's a first-round talent for the NFL draft. So.
This running back draft class is really good. This is the thing. There's a lot of good running backs, I'll say. You have Amon Grady from Missouri. Then you have Lacey. Then you have Brown from Louisville, and then you have Mark Fletcher. So this running back class is a very solid. In past years, I'll say that. But running back position most replaceable. Sad to see Nick Chubb retire. Going on to OU. This team dies on Mateer. This team dies by Mateer. That's all I gotta say. It's the same motto, like last year. This team is Mateer. How far Mateer can lead this team is how far they go. I'm not questioning about their defense. It's just Mateer. That's the biggest question.
That's not ridiculous. I'd say just we gotta see how his injury proneness turns out this year, because he was like medical town every week, or he was out, or he was getting surgery, or he's doing this, blah blah blah. I think Oklahoma should be a solid team this year, but I don't think they should be top 10 right now. They will not finish top 10.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they finish top 10. I think the game that's going to dictate their stadium, it will be Red River. It will be the Red River game like last year.
They're going to get blown out.
Probably. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be.
On that. Clip this right now. If Oklahoma wins that game, I'm never coming back on this channel.
I'll mark this right now.
I will say I don't know ball. I'll say I don't know ball if Oklahoma wins.
I think the game is is playing at Michigan. You're going to play at Michigan. Dude, they got to play at Michigan in week 2. You got to play at Georgia. You got to play after you play Red River. Like that stretch. That 4-week stretch, dude. Oh my.
Yikes. That's going to make or break them, cuz like once you get out of that like
if you could get
done or you're hot as hell.
If you could get a win in Michigan and just finish like 1-2, then your season's not dead. You can still finish season at 10-2 possibly. But if you lose
they got to win at least 2 of the 3 of Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma, or Michigan, Georgia, and Texas. If they don't go 2-1 in those stretches, they're done.
You don't think they win like 10? They go 10 straight.
They got Ole Miss. They got Ole Miss soon.
They got
in
Ole
November.
Miss
they got Texas A&M. We'll say Texas A&M's mid, but
in South Carolina, can they live up to the expectations of Dylan Sturt and Sellers in their last year? We'll see.
They're under the radar right now, but they can rise really quick. I think Lenore Sellers is really good.
They are. Now let's talk about LSU, Lane Kiffin's team. This team is the most drastic change of all teams. They improved on everything on their levels. This roster, on paper, I think they're one of the best. I think you could say top 7 best rosters. Yeah, but can Sam Leavitt live up to expectations from going from the Big 12 to the SEC? I mean, I know the Big 12 is quote-unquote the offense conference. You can stat pads and all that. And he did have Jordan Tyson. I don't know how he's going to transition, though. That's going to be concerning. You have George Seaton coming in. You have DJ Pickett, the cornerback, 6'5" guy. Let me think of other guys they got. They got Dallas.
They got
Dallas
that
Wilson.
one edge dude, yeah.
Yeah, Dallas Wilson from Florida, if I'm correct. So they got players. They got a lot of guys in past years. I mean, this LSU team, because we forget LSU last year, on paper they should have been good, but the O-line failed Garrett Nussmeier. So if they don't have that issues and their run game is actually existing with K. Durham and Harlow Berry, if that can be existing, maybe. Okay? Because you have Jackson Harris, J.C. Brown, Watkins, and then, my bad, not Dallas Wilson, Iguan, or I can't say.
They got the right. Colorado dude, Seaton, too, offensive lineman.
George Seaton.
Recruit couple years.
He's the best offense. I say he's one of the best tackles in the league. So, getting him.
I think LSU will be better than what they're ranked right now. I think the SEC is just going to be an actual gauntlet this year. Everyone says, "Oh, the SEC is going to be gauntlet this year. SEC is going to be gauntlet." I think this year is actually one of the years where, I'd say the preseason hype is definitely lower than what I expect it to be.
I think in past years compared to SECs, I think this year is going to be tough. I think every game is going to be really competitive, the high things, but I do think you will see the separations, like the Kentucky, Mississippi State, and all that, the Vanderbilt. You will not have the low-tier SEC teams come out of nowhere. I think it's going to be the top teams, if anything, will show up.
Yeah, LSU. What they got? Clemson week 1. Let's look at their schedule. They got Ole Miss at week 3. I think they'll beat Clemson. I
I
think
do too.
Clemson's kind of falling off a cliff. A&M
Clemson's
should be a
officially
good
out.
game. I think LSU should win that one. Let's say
And
they
they go-
lose 3 games.
Okay.
That's a disappointment.
I do think so, but it goes back to the thing like Mark Spears said on first day. That game against, because he has them going 12-0. I know he's at LSU. He went to LSU. I know that. That game does dictate, though, the season, though. That Ole Miss game. Because if you beat Ole Miss, you have no more, doubt. You have nothing. You went in the road. You beat the former team you coached at. There's no doubt. You have no phase. You're not phased at anything. And I think I'm going to say right now, the 3-game stretch that's going to dictate their season, I think a lot of SEC teams like this year, the final 3 weeks, or the final 4 weeks, they got to play Bama and Texas. They host them. That's the thing. They host them. That's a big advantage. And then you got to go Rocky Top in Tennessee. And we know how Tennessee is. You play in Tennessee, that ain't no welcome. Tennessee is one of the hardest places to play in the SEC. So,
and I feel like a lot of fans are going to be kind of. I think LSU is one of the most hated teams right now, only because of how many recruits they've had come in. Sam Levitt looks like a douchebag. I'll say that. I'm not going to say the guy's probably a douchebag, but he looks definitely like a douchebag. You have Lane Kiffin, who publicly left his team in the dust. They went on to win a couple games in the college football playoffs. That hurts his reputation even more because they're like, okay, this team actually did something without Lane Kiffin compared to what they were doing in the regular season. LSU is one of the most hated teams coming into the year, and I love it. We'll just see how Lane Kiffin, will he go into the role of being the big fucking villain, or will he be the guy that's okay, yeah, I'm going to stay humble, I'm going to be like this. I think he should honestly be the fucking villain. I will stand on that. I don't curse that often, but I got to stand on that. He needs to be the villain this year.
He needs to, assume the role or take that role of pretty much that identity of just being the villain this year. Yeah. And I think if he wins with being the villain, shit, that would be insane. That would be something. Moving from SEC play, we got our first Big 12, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is the favorite because they have the money. They have oil money, the whole Strasby situation. Now Tommy Castolo is going to be a quarterback positionally over there. They're good. They have a really good run game. They have a really good defense. The question is always going to be at the end of the day is quarterback play for Texas Tech. And they thought they had their quarterback in Brent Starbury's and then the whole gamble situation. And now Tommy Costello, Costello goes there. 5'9" quarterback, but he's electrifying. He's like a little Kyler Murray, but not like Kyler Murray. I don't know how I feel about Will Hammond coming off an ACL or Achilles injury. I don't know how he's going to play because it is very tough for a quarterback to come back from that unless you're like him. Only some quarterbacks can come back from an injury like that territory, especially at a young age like that. So I have no clue how he's going to do this. I think Tech, it won't make the playoffs. I think it's going to be, how the Big 12 is. There's no such thing as a repeat in the Big 12 unless it was back in the day of OU and Texas. There's no such thing as repeat in the Big 12. So I don't think Tech will be finishing back-to-back this year. I do not.
Yeah, especially with how their summer has gone. Losing, was it Sorsby?
Sorsby, right? Yeah.
Yeah, losing Sorsby kind of throws off the rhythm of teams finding chemistry throughout the summer. I will say their schedule is pretty easy. It looks like a cupcake. Yeah.
Until they go in Waco, though. Until they go in Waco.
We'll see how DJ Lagwood plays, bro. We'll see. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, they need to find chemistry, and if Tommy can come in and get that chemistry going off the rip, I think they should be fine. But it does take time to get a connection with certain guys in college football, especially with the NIL and how big egos are. So I think it will take time, but I hate repeating what I'm saying. But how easy their schedule is, I think they should get it pretty quick. And
they should. They should. They have the easiest schedule. See. I think, though, the games for them, that's going to dictate a lot. You could say I'm a biased fucking Baylor fan. Sorry for cussing, but I think that game's going to be very intense. I think if DJ Lackway lives up to the expectations, that game could be intriguing. I do think they have the best receiving core. They have the best running back core. They have the best defensive linebacker core. They have everything going for them.
Yeah.
The game is gonna I think I'm gonna question though, is the Baylor game. Of course, you're going to Waco, and they haven't beat Baylor. Last time they played Baylor was bad, but the Oklahoma State game also. That offense is going from North Texas to Oklahoma State. That's the mean orange, if you want to say that, the mean orange. And with Drew, Caleb Hawkins, and then you have that what's that white receiver they just got? Oklahoma State. I forgot his name. He's been killing in camp. I forget his name. It was Wyatt Young. Wyatt Young. A lot of people saying Wyatt Young is a very underrated player in the Big 12 play. They're gonna be good. I think Oklahoma State could win this Big 12 this year. So I think that last 3 games will dictate their season right there. I think it goes back to saying the last 3 games will always dictate a season where you're at. You can go from the top 5, or you can go from bottom 25. It really depends on that. Season comes through trash, if anything. Going now to your Bama. I want you to speak on your Bama because today they officially announced Kalen Russell is the quarterback.
President Key. Yeah, I mean, this was kind of expected around town that Keelan Russell would win the starting job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he deserves it. He came in from last year as a 5-star number 2 recruit behind Bryce Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people are writing Alabama off. And I love it because it doesn't give that much media pressure to where it's like, Alabama's number 1, Alabama this, Alabama that. I mean, I've seen it with the Jets in the NFL to where they crumble. I think Alabama's going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder, and this all just stems on how Ryan Williams will play this year. We'll see how Ryan Grubb calls some plays for him because last year, obviously, there was no run game. No. Offensive line was mediocre. Our receivers were dropping the ball left and right. Obviously, Jeremy Bernard stood out as our best wide receiver. Jim Miller really struggled, and, Ty Simpson played fantastic to where
he did. Ty Simpson was really good.
He doesn't get enough credit. Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit to how he played last year. But I do think that Xavier Brown and Bray Hubbard being All-American preseason, I think they'll have really good seasons. I'm excited to see how our defensive line does, but I think Alabama is properly rated right now.
Is it crazy? Is it crazy if Keelan Russell lives up to expectations? Is it crazy to think Alabama will be 6-0 or 5? Yes. Is it what? 1, 2,
5-0 until Georgia. Yeah.
Is it crazy? Is it crazy to think they'll be 5-0 hosting Georgia, and they could honestly win that game and then go to Rocky Top next game?
We see how Alabama plays against Georgia in the regular season. I think it's always just a mental game with Kirby Smart. Everyone's like, "Oh, Georgia's gonna win this," and all of a sudden Alabama wins the game, and everyone's like, what just happened?" I think East Carolina's a win.
Yeah.
Kentucky, win. Florida State, we're gonna have to see how that because
it's not Florida State. It's not. It's in Bama though. That's the thing. It's
in Bama. Weather should be good. South Carolina, it's 50-50 on if South Carolina's gonna be good this year or not. So I do think Alabama can win that game, and Mississippi State should be a win. We should be getting hot by the time we play Georgia, and I think they'll be 5-0.
I think they'll be 5-0, and Georgia will be coming off. I think it's OU, if I'm correct. They'll be coming off against OU, and that'll be a tough game. So,
and it's at Bryant-Denny Stadium, so
it's
take that into account. They're coming off of Vanderbilt, but OU's the week before.
So they'll be fine. I think the Georgia game, if you do win that, you're 6-0. Going to Tennessee. Yep. In history, anytime Bama's hot and they go to Tennessee, they kind of lose usually.
The jerseys though. You see it?
I did not
the red
see
versus orange. But I'm so hyped for that. The red versus orange.
We're both wearing red and orange. That's gonna be intense.
Both wearing home uniforms. Yep.
A&M, I ain't worried about that. The LSU game, that is going to be tough depending on how the season is. I can see y'all going 10-2. I could see it. I could see a 10-2 season for Alabama this year, depending if Russell does live expectations. Ryan Williams bounces back. And the run game is identified again. I'm not worried about the defense. I know Bama's defense is always going to be consistent no matter what. It's just going to come down to is the offense can be back to the level that was for the past couple years live up to their expectations. A dominant run game, a dominant receiver game, and then the quarterback pretty much being phenomenal. So
we'll see. That should be a fun season. I'm actually looking forward to this season so much.
I am too. I'd be excited.
Keelan Russell. Definitely have him for 2 years. It's not like a 1 year thing where we had Jalen Milroe for 1 year, my freshman year, sophomore year. Obviously, we had Ty Simpson, who was like, okay, is he gonna stay or leave? Probably leave. Keelan Russell's locked in for 2 years. My junior and senior year. We better win a natty with this man.
Maybe you will.